All right, so
All
everyone's
right,
recording because
so
I'm recording.
Yeah.
how do we get started with this?
How do you want
Okay,
us to
so
start? Introductions? What's going on?
I don't know, man. I'm scared. This is my first time doing this.
The first ones are always going to be rougher than the last ones, so we'll get through this.
Start with saying
Yes,
hello.
hello.
So yeah, we are new podcast channel named Three View. That is the name we're going with right now. Kevin's suggestion.
Yeah.
We got myself, Ryan. We got Dwayne, and then we got Kevin down there in the corner, and we got our little bot there, Craig.
Ignore Craig.
Craig. Don't ignore
Craig is Craig is
he's a little
temporary.
bear.
Don't worry about Craig.
He's a little bear.
Yeah.
Good bear.
Yes, Bella, I am in the middle of something. Hello.
So the premise of the show is that we watch essentially the first 3 episodes of. We're gonna start with anime for now, but we might move on to like Cartoon Network cartoons, Nickelodeon cartoons, shows. You know, we might even move to movies at one point. Although then Three View kind of changes in name, but we'll figure that out. Don't worry about it. So yeah, we basically watched the first 3 episodes. The very first episode very first show that we decided to go with on Kevin's suggestion, because I am terrible at picking, is G Gundam, or in Japanese title is Mobile Suit G Gundam. So I got my little notes here. So first and foremost, G Gundam aired in April 22nd, 1994. And had a run date until March 31st of 1995. So just under a year, essentially. I think it had... Kevin, how many episodes did it have? Like
50 episodes, I think
40,
it was.
I think it was like 49 episodes.
It might have been 49. I remember
episodes.
it was a weird number like that, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, you recently went through it. How many episodes did it have? Do you remember?
I got the DVD right here in front of me. Its episodes are up to 49.
Okay.
Yeah, so 49 episodes. The director, Yasuhiro Imagawa, this was his first Gundam that he directed. Also, fun fact, his birthday is the same birthday as mine, July 24th.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
And producer, Masahika Minami, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. He is actually, I think it says he's the co-founder or even the president of Bones since 1998.
But the TV show Bones, or
No, the company.
Bones is in.
Okay,
oh,
okay.
No shit.
Yeah.
huh?
So what's funny about G Gundam is that in America, it actually didn't air until August 5th of 2002 and ended in October 16th of 2002. Because that was when Toonami was doing their,
Oh, the 2 episodes at a
thing.
time.
Actually, no, it wasn't 2 episodes at a time, but yeah, it was 1 episode Monday through Friday for the next basically 2.5 months, and so that's why it had such a short airtime in the States. It was basically 1 episode per day, whereas Japan had the standard 1 episode per week.
I missed that 1 per day bit, but only when they would rerun it.
G Gundam was an anime that was made for the 15th anniversary of Gundam, because the original, Mobile Suit Gundam came out in 1978.
Was it 78? Okay.
1978, 1979. I forget the... But yeah, it was the 15th anniversary. And it was an attempt to reboot the waning popularity of Gundam, because it had a very, slow decline. I guess a lot of people didn't like Victory Gundam at the time. That was, I think, the newest one. And it's also the first one to be set in an alternate universe that wasn't the Universal Century. It was an alternate universe called Future Century.
Huh.
It spawned 3 volumes of manga, 3 volumes of light novels, and 6 manga spin-offs, following various characters and stories. There was actually, fun fact, there was actually slight controversy with the production staff because of how different it was from Gundam. It was so, how would I word it? It was essentially, compared to the original Gundam's storyline and the following ones, it was lighthearted. Which
I
is
have
really
words
weird
on
to
that,
say
by
after
the way.
watching those first 3 episodes.
No,
Oh, you have
I
notes
have
on that?
words on that, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I remembered, because I have not watched through all of G Gundam. I've seen episodes and clips here and there. Our buddy and I, Jake, we would recite the burning finger thing all the time in elementary school. And
Such a good line.
when I was looking to get back into Gundam about a year or so, I started going through it. I stopped about episode 24, but I was hearing a lot of that, of the whole oh yeah, it's too lighthearted, so everyone stopped liking it. They want the whole war and the political stuff, and I'm like, are you watching the same show? Cause it's in there. When we get to get to my turn, I'll talk more about that. But yeah, it's in there.
Yeah. It had slightly mixed, but mostly positive reviews in the U.S. and in Japan. Some liked the campiness that it had.
Mm-hmm.
Others disliked the tone shift and the repetitiveness of the let's go with the monster of the week kind of mentality.
Yeah.
It was a new fight every week.
Yeah.
People were kind of like, it's kind of here and there.
That's insane to me.
So the basic plot of it is our main character, Domon Kashu, fights for Neo Japan, which is a colony that took off from Japan into space because each nation had a colony go up into space, leaving Earth to be desolate, essentially 60 years prior to the story. We follow the 13th Gundam fight, where he has to find essentially this young man who people trying to be spoiler free, but all three of us know, would assume is his brother. I mean, it's hard to say spoiler free when this anime has been 30 years old. Like,
No, I get it.
True,
It's
but at the
like-
same time, for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, I
know.
There are so many good twists, but also at the same time, if you know tropes already, you're gonna be in for a wild ride of how exactly they use them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the interview with the main actor for The Hobbit when he said something that happened in one of the Hobbit movies that didn't come out. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but the book's been out for like 70 years." I'm like, Jesus Christ. Also, fun fact, Domon Kashu also shares my birthday.
Oh yeah.
Are you for real?
Yeah! July
Like the actor?
24th. No, the character.
Oh, still though, I'm hella jealous of you right now. You got it made.
So some other little fun facts. The final fight in the anime included a bunch of returning and new Gundam. You can find the main Gundam. You can find Zeta Gundam, Double Zeta, if you look hard enough. Also, a very fun cameo that's really weird to think about when you watch it in the U.S. release. Gundam Wing was in the final fight. And the reason that's interesting is because Gundam Wing came out a year or two after G Gundam. But in the U.S., we got Gundam Wing first.
Oh.
So, it was basically, that was Wing Gundam's first appearance on screen before his actual show debut.
Mm-hmm. They do like to do those promo things. Tease the next thing.
They absolutely do.
Tease the next thing in.
Some of the sillier, we'll use that word. Some of the sillier designs for the Gundams are rumored to be the director's spite towards Bandai's merch-driven policies, making it extremely hard for them to make models after them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he absolutely hated the idea of being a company set on trying to sell Gunpla models. I don't think they were called Gunpla at the time.
They weren't at the
That's
time, but I know what you're talking
insane.
about. It's very similar to the American market where everything was toy driven. If you couldn't make a toy out of it,
Absolutely.
it was very hard to pitch it to anybody.
That's what happened. That's why Young Justice died, is because they weren't selling toys and the show was appealing to girls. But that's a whole other issue for another time.
Yeah,
Warner
focus on the
Brothers.
script.
Warner Brothers is a whole other issue
The-
on another time. We'll get there.
The
We'll
the,
get
the
there.
script that I don't have.
Keep ad libbing.
So,
Focus on the
fun-
G Gundams. You're doing great. Bro.
So some other fun little things. I was trying to find out if there was any like first time voice actors in the show, and unless they were small time characters, a lot of them were already established. Tomokazu Seki, the Japanese voice actor for Domon, is the same voice actor, Dwayne, as Rob Lucci.
Huh.
Exactly my thoughts. Also, he's the same voice actor for Selkie from My Hero Academia, the Seal Hero, the one that Froppy teamed up with in the anime original episode.
Yeah, that is
Oh shit.
fucking weird.
And
that
then
is a weird pull.
he had a lot of roles, but these are the ones that stuck out to me. He was also Panda from Jujutsu Kaisen.
They like making him animals, don't they?
And then for Mark Gotha, I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. He retired actually from voice acting.
Do you know what he
7 years
became?
ago? Oh, I was gonna get to you, Kevin, because you're gonna love this. So first off, before that, I have my notes all jumbled. Tomokazu also does a lot of Tokatsu stuff. You know, the Metal Hero, or
Okay.
Kamen Rider, the Power Ranger equivalent, Beetleborg equivalent.
I just learned about that term Tokatsu today.
Oh yeah.
Wayne, didn't you share something not too long ago saying that he actually might be in charge of that now? I forget.
I think if it's the same name, I think so. Someone just got promoted to be the head of the new projects.
Yeah.
Their first big one that they're being appointed to is the new Sentai, which is what the beetle Sentais. Are they bugs, insects, whatever they are?
Insects. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, he did a lot of like villains and hero characters for the Tokatsu series. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say he's been there for a while.
Oh yeah. I couldn't find any two standout roles aside from Domon that either of you guys would have noticed, except for you, Kevin. He was X in Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Huh.
My boy voices Mega Man X in the irregular Maverick Hunter PlayStation Portable re-release. And he later on goes on to voice him again in Mega Man X Command Mission, and I believe Mega Man X8.
I don't think I've heard any of those Japanese voice acting. I need to do that.
Well, no, that's the English voice acting.
No. That's
the English voice
dub.
act. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
So-
I need
cool.
I need to beat Command Mission.
So that was the show build up and essentially just fun little notes of before. So Kevin, you picked the show. How about you start on your breakdown of the episodes? How you felt, like character breakdown and story and whatnot.
Okay, absolutely. Just a little background on me for the show. I grew up watching it at like my tweens. I just suddenly stumbled upon it one night on Toonami when it was being hosted on Cartoon Network, and since then I was like, whoa! Like this was so different compared to what I knew about Gundam and what my friends explained to me about it. So the more I got into like that series, I was like, I really gotta find time for this. And I didn't do that until high school when I was like bored out of my gourd one night, and I remembered G Gundam, and I'm like, did I ever finish watching that show? So I just found it somewhere for free on YouTube and just plowed through the entire fucking show. and it is such a treat. It is such a good show. It is so much fun. But starting from the very beginning, with episode one, where it immediately just goes right into the action. We don't stop. We don't stop until the episode is over. Right from the get go, we already begin on our journey through the 13th Gundam match, and it's it's immediately just showing off like great visuals of the Earth just getting bombarded by what we assume to be meteorites or some sort of you know weird space thing. Comes to find out, it's all man-made and it's just all dedicated for this one thing, which is the fight. Um, Jesus, where to begin with this? Um, well, it doesn't. They don't tell you until episode two, but the opening of that whole thing, and unless you pay attention to the background, takes place in what is considered old Italy. So like I say old because Neo Italy is up there in the sky doing its thing, sending down its fighter. Um, but yeah, it takes place in Italy, and you don't really notice up until they start actually fighting. There's a giant coliseum in the area, and it's like, oh, so we're in Italy. They confirm that later in episode two. Um, you get the intro with just everybody doing their thug dizzle out there, just roaming the streets, being hoodlums and whatnot, people stealing things off of people, and then when we get to the bar scene, we finally introduce, or at least we get to see this peculiar man who's just all dressed up in probably the most badass look I've ever fucking seen. Um,
I have
all we
comments
get
on that
from him
look
is
later.
just that question. All we get from him is that one question: have you seen this man? And he's just holding up that photo. And no matter where he goes, all he's thinking about is that one fucking question. Episode one, in terms of like its storytelling and its breakdown, is so good because of just how much they really just dump onto you with pure exposition through people who've been involved in this world. You really get the feeling that you're just kind of there in the action amongst the other survivors who are just trying to deal with what's going on. Domon as a character, we don't get too much out of him. He's already everything that you want to know about him is not there yet. But he's dark, he's brooding, he's mysterious. He's very matter of fact in his style and way of thinking. If you didn't know any better, you'd think he was like some badass detective. But then when they show off that he's actually one of the fighters, it's like, oh shit, this guy's more than just some fucking straight up normal badass. He's like a super badass. In fact, one of the goons of the pilot for Nero's Gundam, it's my favorite bit. He somehow sees from like a super far distance that Domon has a tattoo of the crest of the King of Hearts crest on his hand, and the minute he sees that, he just info dumps about exactly who he is, what he does, and what he's doing. And I'm like, dude, this guy just went through a pure like Final Destination moment. The moment he saw that thing, he was like, oh no, it's this guy, and he's gonna do this to us. We can't win. Oh man, episode one is just super, super, super fun.
It is,
and it's
and
a great start. It's a great start to the entire series.
That whole bit with the tattoo was a little nuts because everyone's looking at him doing a whole bunch of nonsense anime stuff, and he's like, "Oh, dude, this guy's so cool, dude. He's gonna take us all out, man."
Yeah, it's crazy because like I honestly, when I rewatched these first three episodes, I did not remember a damn thing. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
That's fair.
I watched the show when it first aired back on Toonami, and I was like, man, this is so cool. I remember nothing. I remember when I watched the episodes, I was like, man, Domo is so damn edgy, especially with that cape. But he's so good with the cape.
Oh,
actually,
hell yeah.
The
baddest
so
cape
good with
on
the
the planet.
Fun fact about Nero's Gundam, it's actually a reference to the Roman Emperor Nero, who set fire to Rome, which, is where the Colosseum now is in Italy, right? It's part of Italy. Yeah. Yeah, he set fire to that Colosseum.
Pretty fitting that it actually happens almost again during the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the cool thing is, it's just a fun little thing where they make the references throughout the show. Okay, but what the hell was with the dude firing beams with his feet? Like, okay, what? Why do we got Guile in this anime? Why?
So
Yeah.
so going through these episodes again, I assumed that every single one of them had some weird fucking power, and that we were just supposed to figure it out when the character figures it out. But as we'll get to it when we get to episode 2, he was the only one that did that. He was the
Yeah, but
only
then
one that
yeah,
had some weird fucking power.
but then Domon's over here catching bullets with a single hand. You know.
Yeah, but they say that's his martial arts, which I find is bullshit. But they say it's martial arts. It's like not even inherent power. Like,
No, guys, you're missing the point. They're super people. These are all supermen from distant neo planets who come down here to fight the odds.
super soldiers
I
got
suppose.
it.
This is the Gundam
But-
Olympics, goddammit.
But can we talk about how useful that bubble shield that Rain had was?
All right,
Oh
so
God, no, fuck that. Can we talk about Rain? Cause she is my girl.
Rain's
Oh, she's a
amazing.
baddie.
She needs to be in
Actually,
more
she's not a
shots.
baddie, but she definitely a ride or die. That's what
Oh
she
yeah,
is.
she is. Oh yeah, she is.
Ah, the quintessential ride or die is my girl Rain. She's in the dictionary. There's a photo of her under the term ride or die.
I love the fact that, you know, when Domon gets his suit, and I'm gonna bring this up in episode when we get to episode 2, but I love the fact that, you know, when we first see Domon do the pilot, which, by the way, how they pilot the Gundams is the coolest way to do it. I get the mecha, you get the handle, but having it follow your movements is, I think, the coolest way to pilot. And going on a small tangent, just like how I think the Spirit evolution in Digimon Frontiers is probably one of the coolest evolutions, where you are the Digimon, you know? I think how they pilot the Gundams in G Gundam is, like, super cool. And
the mobile trace system.
Go ahead.
No. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there. That's the name of it. The mobile trace system. Please
That is
continue.
such a
Dwayne
cool
was gonna-
fucking name.
Hell yeah.
I think Dwayne was gonna say something though.
I was just gonna chime in. We'll get to the spirit evolution stuff too. But yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
being able to control your power in that sense, whatever it
absolutely.
is usually really cool.
And fun,
I know it's
I have
considered a
no.
cop-out.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no. I know it's considered a cop out, but for those first 3 episodes, every time Domon gets in G Gundam, I'm sorry, in Shining Gundam, and is like doing his thing, we get to see shot for shot the exact same animation reused, and it never gets old. It
Never.
always hits.
It's such a 90s thing though to do that little introduction whenever he does it though.
It's his henshin
Just the
moment.
same-
You gotta have it.
It's like it's cool. I'm not gonna deny it. It's just really funny, like looking back on it.
Yeah.
Also, Kevin, I have no guarantee on this, but I think the way he pilots the Gundam was an influence on a later anime, Gunsword, where how the main character pilots it, because it's almost similar.
Really?
But he has this weird thing where he stabs his sword into the thing, but it's not. He doesn't sit in like a normal cockpit. I have no guarantee if that's a direct influence, but you know, Gunsword. There's so many different mecha designs, you never know. I mean, they have a Power Ranger mecha, so.
That
but
anime is just a straight up love letter from what you told me of like
It's so
just
good.
that genre.
It's so good. But those latex suits suck. Like, the reason I say this, right, and don't get mad, Kevin, but it's because it's not going the way you think it's going.
Go on.
It sucks because Domon looks like he's in pain when that's getting put on him. He does not look comfortable.
Isn't it like attached into his nervous system or some shit?
It's like when it's coming down, it spins and and you just see like he rips off and like God, it looked like it hurt.
Well, okay.
But then they get a really good shot of his ass every time.
Oh God, yeah, Domon's sexy ass. That's what I was gonna mention.
you gotta get
I
that
love
in there.
that. I love
You gotta
that
get
shot.
that in there.
Gotta get that in there. There are women watching this anime. I'm telling you. But like for real though, like bring down the mic. Like every time they showcase the mobile trace system being used, it does not look like an easy process.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a gravity room being thrusted upon you immediately, just skin deep. Like that shit looks like it's gonna suck as it gets on. Um, it's funny that you bring that up. I know we can only focus on the first 3 episodes. But
You can spoil a couple
I
episodes. It
have
doesn't
seen
matter.
later stuff. But like later on in the show, we get to watch somebody else put on the mobile trace system, and because they're not at the same superhuman strength level of like the actual like fighters, you actually
Mm-hmm.
see just how much more difficult it would be for a regular person to put that thing on.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
only just like a form factor deal because of the way how the mechs are specified depending on the fighter.
Mm-hmm.
It would screw with your body physically.
So another thing that since I watched the Japanese dub, I didn't get the chance to watch the English dub. One thing that was just really funny, some small thing, was during the fight, the Italian dude at one point he screams, he goes Chesto, because Chesto is a Japanese. It's almost similar to bonsai, but it was used a lot. What, I forget the meaning of it. But yeah, it's a battle cry basically that the Japanese would do, and I'm trying to remember the exact translation, but yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, it was a battle cry that a lot of like loud warriors would scream, and it was just really funny to hear him say it, especially since he's supposed to be Italian. Because in the second episode, we got homeboy speaking the brokest of English I've ever heard. Like, um, but one thing I got to talk about, right, is so the one thing that you forgot to cover, Kevin, is that a lot of the people on Earth actually hate the Gundam fight,
That's right, they
and
do. They
in Italy
do.
specifically, the cops were even trying to like arrest and essentially like wipe out the fighters. My question is, what was Homeboy thinking trying to shoot a rifle at a Gundam?
I always took that scene as him trying to hit the pilot, and he just
But he
fucked
was
up.
he was already in the Gundam at that point. When he jumped out into the road and is like, I'm gonna take him out, like, Shining Gundam had to block the hit.
Yeah.
I did notice
Like,
that while he was
come on, guy, you gotta
emptying
you
the
gotta be
magazine.
you gotta be smarter than that.
No, I did notice that while he was talking to the little girl and like emptying the magazine out to put in another round, it looked like he
Mhm.
possibly was going to use like a maybe a heavier bullet or something, like some sort of magic bullet that
Mm.
was going to
Like
probably
a, oh
pierce
yeah,
the
like a
hull.
special piercing round. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So that
it's
probably
hard
could
to
have been his
pierce
plan.
Gundanium though.
Gundinium?
Um.
Is that actually what they're made of?
It's that might not be the right name, but yeah, the material is like Gundanium or something like that. Look it up. I swear. I promise you.
No,
I
I believe
believe
it.
you. That's just really baller. That's the most
Sticking
unobtainium
with
shit I've ever heard in a while.
Sticking with the first episode before we move on. Um. Uh. What you said, Kev, how the action doesn't stop and you see all of the people like kind of running and cowering and all the fighting and stuff. I
Hmm.
actually thought there was a weird tonal dissonance between the intro, the first episode, and then the second episode.
Oh, total
And
shit.
so,
Total shit.
first episode comes on, you get one of the banginest. I know that's not a word, but one of the banginest
It's gonna be a bang. It's
opening
gonna be
songs.
a word now.
And it is a strong song. It shows you a lot of visuals, maybe too many visuals, but it shows you what you're in for. You're in for a Gundam show.
It's so 80s. It's
and then
hilarious.
and then the show opens up on this dystopian ass wasteland, talking about how the most people fled, and there is a contest going on the surface of the earth, in order to rule over space. And like you said, they a lot of them will explain it and a lot of them will talk about it. There's expedition dumps, but if you're not paying too close attention to that, you'll miss it, and that's probably why they recap it in the second episode, the
Mm-hmm.
way that they do. But you see Italy in ruins. You see one of the early scenes is literally like four kids rummaging through a wall that they just fucking stole. You see everyone talking about how much they hate the Gundam battles. And when you first see a Gundam, you don't even see it in totality. It's shadowed and shaded in a way to like it's some kind of unknown creature, a fear icon basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start fighting and it turns into a Gundam show.
Yeah, that's where it picks
It's
up. Like, yeah, we're on Gundam now, you know, like. But even then,
they still keep a lot of the stuff in the background, and I'll bring that up when we get to the second episode, because the second episode's a great contrast to it, but it's just weird how they're like, oh yeah, this is the worst thing that's happened, humanity's gone to shit, oh, all of us left here on Earth, they're like, oh man, they think we're trash or something, well, we gotta rise up, and then it's just Gundam. Watch the robots fight.
Well, yeah. So let's shifting into episode 2. It's really like you were saying, Dwayne. It's really hilarious how Italy is all desolate and like poverty stricken, and people people just hate the Gundam fights. But then in comes America.
And
Hell yeah.
everyone's cheering
And-
like it's the fucking heavyweight
Oh man,
match
it's a
of
fucking
the
it's a
universe.
4th of July parade going on.
Everyone's excited. It's basically New York, but a couple of the buildings are gone. But everyone is excited and happy. And oh man, I knew that Tyke when he was nothing but a little runt. It's like, come on, what the fuck just happened?
I mean, to be
Are we
fair,
in the
they
same
mention in
show?
dialogue-
Like,
They mention in dialogue, they're like, "Oh man, we haven't seen the city this lol epic since its heyday." It's like, damn, everyone like pulled out all the bells and whistles because they're about to be assaulted in a micro genocide during a Gundam match.
that's fair. That's fair.
And,
Like,
and it's a
they had a
great
lot
contrast.
going on. Oh, it's super
They
good.
did.
It's so insane.
Yeah, because you see Italy and they hate everything, and then you see America and they're trying to find a hope in this situation, and it's a great contrast. It's just weird how the tone shifts so quickly.
It's really neat though, because, and I'm sure Kevin's gonna agree with this to a point, is that the American Gundam fighter is such the American dream character.
Oh yeah.
He came from nothing basically and rose to providence. Providence is
Yeah.
the right word, but he
Prosperity.
rose to fame and glory, but he didn't forget where he came from.
Essentially Rocky
Now,
with a
starting
mixer.
with the opening, yeah. I'm gonna get on his design in a minute, but starting with the beginning of the episode, in the American dub, the Gundam for Iraq is called Desert Gundam. But do you guys know what it was called in the Japanese dub?
I do
Something
not
horrible,
actually.
I bet.
It was called the Scud Gundam.
Scud.
Now,
Like the
for
missile?
those who don't know, the missile. The missile that the Russians sold the Iraqis for the Gulf War, which, by the way, how quick that America beat Iraq for the Gundam fight is a reference to the Gulf War.
Jesus
Holy
Christ.
shit. That's metal as fuck. Holy crap.
Jesus Christ.
And also the news station was so celebratory. They were like, "This was our avowed enemy," and I'm like, "Jesus Christ, this is before 9/11, and they were still saying stuff like this." I'm like, that's probably why they had to change a lot of stuff. Let me tell you. Jumping around though, because like I have little spark notes that just caught my attention. Domon has absolutely no class for boxing.
No.
Just
That motherfucker.
Just straight
that motherfucker saw an
disrespectful.
opening immediately and just dead ass fucking mollywopped the shit out of him. Oh,
But can we also talk about he overextended because he took a kidney shot and almost died.
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah, that nearly
the power
fucked him
of good
up.
old That's the power of good old motherfucking Jibity. See, that's what I'm talking about. Everybody who's a Gundam fighter in this is like literally got superhuman powers. These guys are no joke.
Absolutely. Oh, and he was so mad that Domon interrupted that fight too.
Ah! He made me look like a fool! I'll get him! I'll get you, Neo-Japanese
And
fighter!
then you got the FBI over here like, let me take him out. And he's like, no, this is between us. And
Don't
yet no
meddle
one
in my
listens.
affairs! That's what he keeps saying in the English dub. Ah, they're meddling in my affairs!
Another funny thing I thought jumping around was when he's given his backstory and the on the roof talking to his
Harem.
lackeys, his harem. Let's be real. Such an epic backstory. So so heartwarming. So relatable. So this and then he throws a punch and shatters all those neon lights. And my first thought was like, bro, those aren't cheap.
My first thought when I saw that bit was, oh look, workplace hazards.
Yeah, right. Like those shards are everywhere. That's a oh god. What's the chemical in neon lights? Like that stuff's not good for you. And he just everywhere. And they're like, wow, so good.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
epic.
It's like...
Because
Neo
he's the
Osha's got
boy
a
that
word
can
for
do no
you.
wrong. I
But
feel
yeah,
like Neo Osha
so
would be a notepad.
Neo Osha would be
absolutely.
a notepad.
Just-
They're their own nation because
Um,
everyone hates them. That's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
But jokes aside, like it was still such a fun episode to watch. And I don't, God, what's his name, Kevin? I forget his name for some reason.
Hmm.
The
What,
American
Jiminy
fighter.
Crockett?
Yeah. He's just so he's essentially the American inspiration, and like there's nothing wrong with that. It's like it's such a fun thing to watch him on screen and go with his fights. And his Gundam looks stupid. I'm gonna tell you right now.
You're gonna fucking tell
Don't-
me you don't like Gundam Maxter's design, you piece of shit?
he looked dumb. He looked dumb.
Gundam Maxter's my absolute favorite. He's the American dream personified in a
I didn't
mech
even know
was-
that was
and
his
it
fucking
was-
name. Holy shit.
It was so American because he's got the football helmet. He's got the boxing gloves, and it's just.
You're forgetting the removable boxing pads that are the football pads that he wears that can be used to make upgraded boxing gloves, and it exposes his Gundam's bare chest.
Oh yeah, that's right. The bare chest of the Gundam. Oh my god, that was. It's such a silly design.
You gotta show
Oh,
him
it's
that
so
you're
good.
ready. You gotta get in there.
I love his character though. Like genuinely, I do love his character though. Like he was at that stadium ready, and he's like, where is that Neo-Japanese fighter? I know he wasn't scared, and then they find out that they were duped, and he was pissed. I can't believe they murked those dudes. They straight up killed them. There was no escaping of those
thank God
explosions.
somebody else said something. I wasn't expecting that at all. I watched that and I was like, oh, they're dead. There's no cockpit eject or nothing. They're
Yeah,
gone.
Yeah, no, there was no coming back from that.
Homie got cut in half from head to toe. The cockpit was right there. He wasn't out.
That motherfucker was in there. He was gone.
No,
Just straight
but
murdered
Gundam Master has a really cool. I love the boxing gloves. It's just his design overall was just really goofy.
It's insane. Honestly,
but I
I
felt-
wish I had a figure of that motherfucker. I want to slap that shit on him all the time.
I also felt like they kind of gypped him because he's his whole design is like he's boxing, he's got his fists, and Shining Gundam is just blocking him with his hand, and like you don't even see Domon putting in the same amount of struggle that Maxter is putting in.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like I get it, Domon's main guy, but it felt to me like it took away a little bit of the importance of Maxter at that time. And then, of course, the fact that they blew his arm off.
So I can definitely see where you're coming from. I totally get it. But I think that's kind of one of my favorite bits about that whole thing, is that clearly Jibity has obvious strength. Like he grazes Domon, and Domon almost gets taken out immediately, like sometime after that fight. Um, we already know that the pilot for Nero's Gundam, his last name is Chariot. I remember that much.
Mm-hmm.
He has some special ability with his kicks.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to see like Domon, not only like first he takes out like the Jobber, which is impressive, because like the
Mm-hmm.
Jobber in this was already like some guy with a super ability. Then we go up against Jibity, and yeah, like you said, Domon looks like he's barely breaking a sweat during the Gundam match, and Jibity's all figured out already. It's interesting to see that this is their power dynamic at first, and because of the way how the fight goes, Jibity declares that he's gonna help. He's gonna make himself even better as a fighter. I just from the series and show alone, and not going into too heavy of spoilers, but because of the fact that Jibity later on is like one of the staples. It's cool to see that Jibity it doesn't just give up immediately. Like he gets his ass whooped, and then he gets his comeuppance when well, not his comeuppance. He gets another renewal of faith into his dream because the people around him still believe in him and want him to keep going.
Yeah. No, that was a neat little part too. Is just the fact that everyone was still rooting for him and stuff.
And to tack on to that, the contrast between the first two episodes, the second episode was very, very heavily focused on dreams. He kept talking about how it was his dream to do this. It was his dream to get there. He worked his ass off to get there. Everyone supported that, and everyone had their own dream, and they saw their dreams coming true through him. And it was, you could see it as a form of escapism from the hellscape that they live in, or you can see it as a way of reaching out and finding a piece of hope through him, as opposed to Italy, where not a single one of them had a dream left. They just wanted to survive to the next day. They were surviving through theft and murder in some cases that they weren't even telling you about, and doing all kinds of heinous shit because they knew that the second the Gundams dropped, it was over.
And to be
Yeah.
fair with that
Yeah.
with that same connection, like their fighter wasn't exactly like the people of the people's like eye candy, not like Jibity.
Yeah,
The
Oh
guy
no,
who pilots
he was
him
a
is
he was a
already
former
he's-
mafia dude.
yeah, a mob boss, and was just already a heinous piece of shit. He didn't give a
and he
fuck
just made
about
the
the
place
city.
worse.
Yeah, so of course they would lose all faith into what was going on. They just assumed that the Gundam fight was just going to be another bad day, much worse than the last.
Mm-hmm.
Or again, like that contrast with
Yeah,
Jibity, the
yeah.
moment everyone hears him showing up, it's like, yo, the champ is here. And everyone loses their
I'm not gonna
goddamn
lie.
mind.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was in that G Gundam, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go!" Like.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, the champ is here.
Absolutely. Now, so funny thing with the Japanese dub is he had absolutely broken English the entire episode. Like every so often he would, yeah, and he even did, and the JoJo anime came out years after, but he did the oh my god part when he was like getting pushed back in the fight. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Oh well, now I gotta watch that because that's you know me. I love me my broken English.
So the part with me and the broken English, because I didn't get any. It has been a busy week for me, so I only got to watch the sub version. And whenever the Neo Japan part would come up, he never once said Neo Japan. He just consistently
say
said the
Japanese.
Japanese. Darn the Japanese. Fuck the
that's hella
Japanese.
That's so fucking solid.
so-
That's good.
rolling into episode 3. I'm gonna say it right now.
my boy Sai
Dragon Gundam. Dragon Gundam's my favorite Gundam of G Gundam. I love his design. I love the way he fights. Just great. Sai Chi is a little fucking asshole.
Don't
Is
you
that
dare
the
hate on my
fucker's name?
boy. Yeah, Sai.
Yeah, Sai Chi.
Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The second time through it was not any better. The third episode did not strike any chords with me, and the Gundam is cool. The Gundam match is cool. I don't give a
Everything
shit about
else
the
just
rest
kind of.
about it.
Yeah, so the buildup of it was extremely weird, right? And it's in
Mm-hmm.
my the explanation of so what happens in the episode is that at the beginning you see the Dragon Gundam. Great fucking name. Great
Mm-hmm.
Gundam. You see him crashing down, and all of a sudden, like, just bandits just start attacking all these people, and like the Gundam's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a bad guy," and you're like, "Oh man, like, is this pilot an asshole?" And then you find out later on in the episode that the kid that Domon finds is Sai Shi, and he just was trying to get his Gundam back. But my question is like, how did he get separated from the first place? Like, you don't. When he explains that he got separated, all you just see him in is lying on the ground. Like, did he just fall from space? Is that his special ability? Is surviving orbit drops like Master Chief?
No,
Like,
no. So,
because his
from my
core
understanding,
lander had to be his core lander still had to be in the Gundam to be used. So he
Mm-hmm.
didn't ride that, but you
yeah,
don't see a
no,
crash shuttle anywhere.
no.
I
Maybe they just kind
assumed.
of. Yeah, go ahead.
I assumed because the way they made it sound like they said that they stumbled upon it and they got it under his nose or some shit like that. I assumed the little fucker landed with it but went somewhere or he separated from it and they just found it.
Well,
Cause
no, he explains in the episode though that he landed away from it.
yeah. It sounds to me like that was supposed to be some form of cover because he's like fucking 12 and
Fair.
I don't believe that these bandits just found the Gundam. I feel like something happened, negligence or some shit. But again, like I said, I don't know what it is about this episode. It's just not a single part of it. Not a single part of it grabbed me until the
It,
Gundams
it,
came in.
it kind of happens. I mean, they try to give
No,
this weird little subplot for the whole bandits attacking. And I want to point out I want to make a point on that. How come, and this might sound ignorant, but because the anime was made in the 90s.
Mm.
How come every single Chinese person in that episode dressed like they were from the Three Kingdoms era?
I assumed that whole area was designed like that, and they didn't think twice about it.
Like, you got the people dressed in the robes. Even the bandits. The bandits were in, like, leather armor. And,
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, that ain't gonna stop a bullet. Like,
Let alone space shit.
yeah. I mean, they had these really cool, like, flamethrower pistols. I was like, okay, I want one of those, but...
And I think one of the parts that took me out of it was so we haven't mentioned it with episode 2 onward. Think up into a point I can't remember. Um, the announcer effectively of the Gundam battle
oh yeah,
comes
my favorite
out,
character.
explains what the Gundam battle is, about how it started and how it works, and then gives a small little premonition, as they used to do, of the story of the episode. So it's like, oh, here's the story of the Gundam battle and how it started and why. And oh, our main character, he's gonna have a strange encounter with the dragon Gundam, but we're not gonna tell you who the pilot is. That's for you to find out, and it's because it's supposed to be the whole reveal. And then it goes to pillaging and burning the place down and women and children running around, and it's like, okay, we're back to the weird dystopian stuff. And then it's main character, it's Doshin and child travel adventures, which
yeah,
was the least interesting part about it to me, in all honesty.
that's a
It's
fair
it,
that's a fair
it's
take.
it's very very weird tonally for me. It's very very weird with how they set that up, and the motivation to get to the pilot isn't even that strong. It's oh, we're gonna harm this woman if you don't do it. And it's like, fucking fine.
And then,
And then
everyone could tell that they weren't going to go through with it anyway.
yeah,
Like, even Rain wasn't even concerned. She's like, can you let go now?
and they immediately let her go. Like,
Yeah. It's like, did you have to do that, really? No, I feel it. The third episode, as much as I love Dragon Gundam, the third episode was kind of weak compared to the strong parallels episode 1 and 2 had.
yeah,
And that goes on to a point that I want to make is I absolutely forgot how quick they introduced the core cast. I mean,
yeah.
minor
yeah,
spoilers, but episode 4 and 5 introduces France and Russia's main characters. And I'm just like, I did not remember them being introduced so fast. I thought there were episodes in between, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But another thing I want to go back on, because I forgot to talk about it, is when I mentioned how Domon's suit looked like it hurt him to like put on. I love how the American fighter just had his underneath his normal clothes. He just like whoosh, and then he was wearing it, you know. and then Saishi Shi, he's just sitting there in his cockpit, and it just goes on. He doesn't even look like he's struggling. He's just like, "Yep, that's me. I'm a Gundam pilot." Whereas
That's because she's super strong, dude.
which makes me wonder, like, did the Bandit have to wear that? Because they moved the Gundam.
Oh yeah, totally. That's probably why, if you think about it, that's probably why the Gundam wasn't moving as effectively and eloquently as it did for Saisaishi.
That could be true, yeah.
Because with how much you have to endure with the mobile tray system, if you're not accustomed to it, it's going to take a lot out of you. So you're probably just going to be stiff as a board, like it was during the opening scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Saishi Shi, as much as he was a little ass, though, he was a great fighter. I loved his little, like, almost illusionary, like, moves. And then how he can control the little dragon ponytail on its own. And they basically came to a draw.
Yes.
Um,
Again, the fight was like the coolest part and the
Absolutely.
most interesting part, because even someone like me with my limited Gundam knowledge, they're mechs. They're designed a certain way. They function a certain way. And even when you go into these first 2 episodes, they even show you all the ones currently. So much of it can move. And then you see the Dragon Gundam, and almost every part of it is functional in some way. That is the most interesting part.
and there's so much going on with it, too. Like, he could extend his arms, like, super far and, like, shoot fire out of it and, you know, do this and do that. And it's just, it doesn't make sense functionally, but we ain't here for that.
No, sir.
One thing I gotta.
I'm gonna tell it to you like I did the first time. I'm here for a good time, and that's it.
One thing I thought was hilarious is when the bandits tried to ambush Saishi and Domon. Which, by the way, I would absolutely want to eat something that Saishi cooks. That looked so good.
Mm-hmm.
It really did.
I don't know what it was.
Oh yeah, no, it really did.
Anime food always looks so good. How the hell does Domo not have a lock on his core lander? When he knocked that bandit off the second floor and he hit it, the door pops open. He drives off with it. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh, shit.
He's got a one-track mind in the worst sense. I don't think anything goes through that man's head other than, hey, have you seen this guy? No? Okay, fuck you.
Also, how could Domon's always disrespecting things around him with where he hides his Gundam? Like, I forgot to talk about it, but he hid his Gundam in the Statue of Liberty and then blew it up when the fight started.
In the remains of the Statue of Liberty. Thank you very much.
Whatever.
That shit was already exploded.
Yeah, it was. It was super gone.
What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do if I explode it again, huh? What, they gonna get mad at me? Shit. It was already exploded.
Um,
God,
but yeah,
I
so
forgot. I forgot to
overall,
mention that the reveals of the Gundam every single time gets better and better. But I don't think it ever tops busting out of the old Statue of Liberty for me. That shit was solid.
Second favorite is busting out of the Coliseum when it was very clear that it was halfway out of it already. That was my favorite part.
Just
but
want
yeah,
to tail
so
off you guys real quick with episode 3. I agree with what you guys are saying. Like, it's definitely the low ball out of the 3 episodes that we got to watch. In a sense, I really appreciate the all of a sudden different take we had with these 2 characters. It was weird,
Mhm.
but I don't think it's ever done again during the show. So it's
I
nice to
don't think it
see
has
this kind
been.
of stuff. And not only that, it's just fundamentally just like okay. So I mean, every episode has its gimmick. This one being the 2 brothers on a trip gimmick was like not used very well. It was not. I guess I should say it was just not as inspired as the other ones were so far.
Mhm.
But the nice slow take on everything was kind of cool, and also like even though we were like all thinking like this kid's got to be the Dragon Gundam's actual fucking driver. There's no way. Because all the bandits were doing was just kept using that sick dragon mech and flamethrowering everything in their way.
Mhm.
So it was I'll go ahead and agree with you guys in saying that it's very much a different take compared to the last 2 episodes, and probably not the
Mhm.
strongest. But for it being the intro into Saisaishi as a character and starting to develop him, I would say it's got a strong start there.
that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can give it that because from what little I remember, I need to rewatch through the rest of the series. But from what little I remember, he starts getting a little more development past this
Yeah,
episode,
I think
which
they
is
all
nice.
do because if I remember correctly, the Russian dude, he was just an ass when he like even like an actual ass. Sai Shi was just prankster kid, but they
Mhm.
all end up getting much better character development later on in the
Mhm.
show. Um, yeah, I mean I love Gundam in general. There's not a lot of Gundam series I don't like. G Gundam is definitely one of the better ones in my opinion.
Mhm.
Definitely up there with like Iron Blooded Orphans. My personal favorite 08th MS Team. I wish more people would
Mhm.
watch that one. Um, 00 wasn't too bad. So yeah, G Gundam is definitely a great one to watch,
Mhm.
and I think for our generation, I think it definitely revitalized the series like they wanted it to be.
I'd agree with that
Um,
because it exploded after G Gundam came out.
oh yeah, I did. I had every Gundam toy. Um, that being said, the American dub had better Gundam names for a lot of them. Burning Gundam is much better than the Japanese dub.
You like
Because
Burning
you
Gold
got
Shining?
well, no. So here's the thing: Shining Gundam was the name for both the Japanese and the English dub. Burning Gundam is his upgrade that comes in later. Do you want to know what the original Japanese dub was?
Shining
God
Gundam 2.
Gundam.
Yeah, God Gundam.
Oh shit!
It was
That's why
God
the name of the
Gundam
show
and
is G Gundam.
it was God Gundam and Devil Gundam, and I feel like Burning Gundam and Dark
Yeah.
Gundam were much better names.
Okay, yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Because Burning Gundam is just cool. Like, because I can't remember the quote he used in the Japanese dub. I haven't gotten that far yet. But the English dub, you got burning finger, dead.
Mhm.
I'm assuming because like I said, I haven't gotten that far in the Japanese dub. But I imagine he goes God finger. Like that's a little kind of weird, gay. Like,
I don't know,
But-
man. He seems like the Messiah to me. I'd follow
I
that
think
man.
that's kind of the mini plot they're going with, especially what happens with the end of the series. But I just
Mhm.
personally like Burning Gundam better. Um, maybe it's the fire motif. I'm not sure. I like the Burning Gundam name. Um,
Well, I guess if we're gonna mention names that we just prefer compared to the other ones, I kind of wish that the English dub stuck with the original name in the Japanese version for Neo Mexico's fighter.
Oh, you do
Do
love
you
that
remember
one.
this one? I do. It's
I
because it's
think I
fucking
do.
cool and it makes sense. So in the English dub, because of its design and everything, it's called Spike Gundam,
Mm-hmm.
which is, generic, whatever, cool. Mexico's got a Gundam mech. You know what it is in Japan? Motherfucking Tequila Gundam.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what I thought it was.
That's the fucking shit right there because that's one of Mexico's biggest fucking things. So knowing that, it's like, oh, that makes fucking sense, and
I, f-
it looks cool.
I feel like
they
someone
could
changed it.
they couldn't put it in there because they knew kids would end up watching it, and then they're like, "What's tequila, mommy?" You know, I don't think I would have ever asked that. I would have been like, honestly, I probably would have yelled "Tequila Gundam" out loud, and my mom would have came in and smacked me, not knowing what the context was.
It's not like you're
I
saying
think that's what
Fox
would have
Gundam.
happened to me.
I
can-
know,
There
I
might
get-
be
I
a
get
Gundam
it.
named that for all I know.
It might
If there's a
be.
Gundam named Fox Gundam, I'll be super happy.
There might
That's a
be.
good
There's a
ass
shit
name.
ton of them.
There are hundreds of Gundams. Now the tone shift, you could definitely see it in the earlier episodes compared to like other Gundams. I mean, even the original Gundam, like how many people died, like on screen death, in Iron Blood Orphans, people were dying. Like in Iron Blood Orphans, you got child soldiers dying on the first episode, like and not dying peacefully. So I could definitely see where the original like complaint with the tone shift comes from, but I think that still gives G Gundam its charm because of the fact that it's not like a big all out war. Like yes, it's technically fighting for control of the colonies for 4 years, but that's what we need here in America. Not some election. We just need a big brawl. Whoever wins is president. Fuck it.
I mean, that'll
Just
work.
I'd back that. Kidding me?
But yeah, no, I completely agree. The whole because if you're looking for it to tell you that it's dystopian and very very bleak like the older ones and that came prior, where it's like, oh yeah, watch all these people die, or oh they're suffering. I know the space drama is always going to be very popular. The early Gundams had, the later Gundams had, Legend of the Legendary Heroes, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, all that stuff. I get the appeal of the space opera, but sometimes you just want to watch big robots fight, and there's no problem with that. They did a really good job in some areas, but still conveying how bleak that future is, though, because Earth is a hellscape. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
sure, not everyone's gonna treat it that way, but that's kind of just how life works. Not everyone's gonna see the bad and they're gonna work with it. But when they show you fucking children stealing out of wallets and then getting beat by adults, yeah, that's not a planet you want to be on.
Yeah, you don't have to say, "Hey, this is bad," when you can see it's bad.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that they did it very well. And it's like you said, they don't have to tell us like, "Hey, kids are dying." Like, I see that, like, and I love every Gundam series has its own message. Following the original Gundam timeline, like Iron Blood Orphans is war. Child soldiers are bad. Gundam fights are, hey, you can't solve everything just by fighting. Hell, Witch from Mercury has this whole whole thing of like, government cover up and espionage and stuff. And it's just like every Gundam has their own ups and downs and their own like little takes. So I honestly, for anyone who does watch this, I think if you haven't already seen it, which blows my mind if you're an anime fan that you haven't seen it, I think G Gundam is an absolute watch. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. Whatever rating system, 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10, 3 out of 4, I don't fucking know. Whatever. you know, Absolutely solid pick for a mecha anime to start with, especially if you want to have like little kids watch with you, because then it's not so graphic that you have to explain certain things. If you guys have any like last minute comments or takes on it before I spin the wheel for our next show.
You want to take Kev or you want me to go?
I'll go ahead and go. Yeah, like Ryan said, like this is a super fun show. It's lighthearted enough to be able to get invested into Gundam, to at least be interested into the world and the universe, and it's separate from everything else. So you don't have to start with something else before you get into this one. You don't have to know about the Great Wars or about other characters. You get everything from the get-go and right here in like a pretty little package for you to sit back and enjoy. There's at least for me, obviously start to finish is just a fantastic run through. So I would recommend anyone give this one a shot if they haven't seen it yet. If you have seen it already, see it again, because you don't remember everything, and you probably
I didn't remember Jack. Let me tell you.
And that's where the surprise
nothing.
comes from. Like you get to see new details, you get to pay attention to more things, and you get to appreciate more of the art form itself. In a sense, that's one of my favorite bits about this. We didn't get to go into character design as much, but the variety of visuals you get from every character, the more cartoony aspect of that is super super refreshing compared to like the more diehard realism that the other Gundams are more well known for. The mechanical design, the war tactics, and the more, I guess, aggressive look that some people have in those shows.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot more variety out of this one, and I think that's just pure eye candy, and it's great. Dwayne, you got any final thoughts?
I was gonna say, if eye candy is something that you want, G Gundam is actually really perfect for that. Not just with the Gundam fights, but a lot of the establishing shots are beautiful. A lot of the paint and artwork really, really helps out in contrast with the way they're trying to tell this story. It will, as someone that can handle slow stuff, it does get slow in some takes. But if we're going off just the first 3 episodes, the first 2 are stellar episodes, and then the third one, though to my likings is not the best, it still starts paving the way to better stuff. So it's definitely something worth looking out for, especially if you're looking for mecha stuff. It's a good starting one. Mm-hmm. It's a good starting one.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, essentially the first 3 episodes, just like the name implies, the show definitely caught us. I mean, because there are some animes where the first 3 episodes are slow, or just maybe not, or hell, the first episode might not catch you or might not have a good hook, but then you watch the second episode. So yeah, G Gundam definitely had a very solid first 3 episodes. So with that, I'm gonna pull out my handy dandy roulette wheel over here.
Oh, did you actually
I
make
bought
the
one.
wheel?
Hell yeah,
Yes,
you
I
made
did.
the wheel.
Oh, okay.
Could I
Look at that
have
wheel,
just
holy
used
shit.
Could I have just used an app? Sure. Oh, I gotta try not to get the screen to reflect. That's just gonna be weird screenception going on. Although it's not gonna be as solid, but oh well. So yeah, for the next one, I tried to make it a bit of a variety. I got Trigun Original. I guess we could put Trigun Stampede instead if you guys want. I don't mind either way. I was just trying to have like a classic, another mecha because we got Witch from Mercury. I think Kevin would like that one a lot.
I think so too.
It's hard to see because I don't know why they had black as one of the colors for it, but they gave me a black marker with a black, thing. But we got Blue Lock, which is that really like hardcore soccer anime going on right now.
Okay.
'Cause I don't watch sports anime, so I mean this would be the first for me. We got Buddy Daddies, which is a hilarious comedy that follows, some stuff. So I think that would be good. And then To Your Eternity. So if you want to, rip your goddamn heart out, we got that anime for you. So this wheel is still brand new, so it might not spin very well. Also, sound warning because it's kind of loud.
Oh yeah,
Alright,
that
looks
is
like
loud.
it's
That thing cropped.
I can spin it again if you guys don't want to do Trigon. I'm just saying.
No,
I'm down
oh
for
yeah, I
some
want to do
Trigun.
Trigun. Never seen it. I've only
All
seen
right.
bits and pieces of Stampede, so it works out.
You've never seen the original Trigun.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not
This
good
will
at
be
watching
Really?
shows.
I mean, hey, it's for me, I'm actually behind on a lot of my anime this season and technically last season. So it happens, but so Trigun is a series I think you're gonna really get a kick out of, Kevin, and that's the point of this show too. Is I mean, obviously the three of us all have seen G Gundam before. Kevin is the one who most recently rewatched it, and me and Dwayne rewatched it. And we forgot what happened in the first three episodes. So that's another point of the show is to try, aside from doing a review of what the first three episodes catches us on, is to get us to watch some new stuff. I don't do horror anime, so if Junji Ito ever pops up on our roulette, I'm going to cry.
You might not, because from what I'm hearing, there's only one anime adaptation of his stuff that's actually worth watching. So, you might be okay there.
I'm just making an example of horror anime, but
No, I get it.
but yeah, so all right, and that's pretty much the episode. See you guys next time.
Bye.